You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Bourque. In today's episode, we are discussing the Day One theory, clarity, consistency, and creating what's possible for the second half of 2025. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Okay, we are wrapping up the month of June and the first half of 2025, and I want this to be your reset moment. A clean slate, maybe a chance to get realigned with what you want and recommitted to how you will get there. And I don't know about you, but it feels like January was like 5 minutes ago and somehow also at the same time 5 years ago, depending on when you ask me, right? And that's why this moment right now is so powerful. It's the halfway point, and it is the only moment that we have, right? In this moment. Now, over the past few episodes, we have been working toward closing this out and starting whatever it is that we want to finish out the second half of the year. So we were reflecting on the year up to this point. We talked about organizing what's working and what's not. We talked about organizing your life with the amazing Tracy Hoth and her interview. We are deciding what we want to create next, and we are taking ownership through aligned action, because clarity, again, is not just a nice to have, it is a requirement for creating real change. And today, this episode is going to be the final puzzle piece of the month of June, and we're putting it all together. And I want you to leave this conversation knowing exactly how to reset your mind, reclaim your goals, and move into the second half of this year as the version of you who does the thing, right? So let's dive in. 1 day versus day one. And this you may be familiar with. I think I've mentioned it before. Or if you are on Peloton, you know Robin Arzon has a whole series that talks about starting 1 day versus starting day one. Like today is day one. And think about this. How many times do you say like, oh yeah, I'm going to start drinking more water? Maybe that's me. I don't think I'm alone. But it is something I'm always working on. Instead of saying 1 day, guess what? Today is day one. Oh, right. 1 day I'm going to get my car cleaned out. 1 day I'm going to, what is it for you? Make today your day one to do that. And that's what this is really all about. So many of us have these dreams and goals or intentions sitting on the shelf waiting for the right time. But here's the truth. Waiting to get ready means you never get started. Let that land. If you're waiting to get ready, it means you never get started. You do not need the full plan of how you're going to get there. You don't need more time. You need one decision, one move, one moment of clarity. And that could be as simple as starting with the minimum baseline idea. What is the smallest step that you can take today that is aligned with where you want to go? So maybe if it's for work, is it one call? If it's for trying to gain more work-life integration, is it one journal entry? What is one commitment that you can make to shut down your laptop, perhaps at 5 p.m.? Start small, but start. And here's the key. I want you to think about what the minimum baseline is for you, even on the toughest of days, so that you keep consistency. I'll share a little example, and I've talked about this before. I, as you know, just love Peloton. Now I think I'm up to almost 2,300 days of consistently doing something Peloton. But I will tell you, when my dad was sick, my consistency was sometimes a 10-minute meditation. It did not have to be an hour workout. Start small, but you have to start, because the moment that you do, the moment that you begin, the momentum builds. That's where it starts to get fun. And let me tell you, Mark and I have been talking about this recently. Consistency is the real flex. I mean, especially as we get older, right? James Clear teaches us this also. James Clear, by the way, Atomic Habits, amazing book. If you have not read it, I highly encourage you to. It is so good. In fact, I think it's one of the top loaded podcast episodes that I have when I did a review of his book. Again, James Clear, Atomic Habits. And he teaches us that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. The truth is, most people don't lack motivation. They lack consistency. And consistency is not sexy, it is not flashy, but it is everything. Because every small action you take is a vote for the identity of the person that you want to become. How fun is that? When we have all of these different controversies about who you're voting for, I'm saying, guess what? Vote for the identity of the person that you want to become and start taking action based on that. Do you want to be the rep who maybe finishes the year strong? Act like her today. If you want to feel more calm or clear and in control, show up that way, one small action right now. You don't have to hustle. You just have to be consistent. And the best way to do that is to build the habits to match that identity. So not, I want to close more deals, but instead what you would say is, I'm a person who follows up, who creates value, who believes in what I'm offering. Just take a moment and say those two sentences to yourself. I want to close more deals. Like, oh, okay, great. Want to lose weight, want to get rich, I want to whatever, right? Like it's kind of just out there. But when you say, I am a person who follows up, who creates value, and who believes in what I'm offering, bang, that lands differently. Don't you feel the difference? And for sure, when you're feeling the different feelings from each statement, guess what? You take different action, which leads you to different results. Now, I also want to touch on the idea of the power of possibility, because I want to zoom out and talk about what most people miss. And it's the difference between probability and possibility. Probability says, do what's safe, do what's proven, do what's likely, where possibility says, create what hasn't happened yet. And listen, it is totally normal for our brain to go backwards, right? We want to find evidence of things that have already occurred in order to believe that we can actually also create that result. It is normal. It is a default. But guess what? When you live in probability, you're going to kind of just recreate the same thing, right? Because you're looking to the past for any evidence of what you believe to be true. What I'm saying is create what hasn't happened yet. And I have a new coach that I have been working with, Cathy. She is also the author of Abundant Ever After. She has a podcast as well. She teaches abundance is all around you, and you can train your brain to find evidence of what you want to believe. And the more you feel it now, the more you attract it and the more you create it. So instead of, I'll feel confident when I hit the goal, flip it to, I create from confidence. Instead of, I need proof first, flip it to, I believe first, and then I create the proof. And you guys, science backs this up. In a Harvard study, people who imagined playing the piano activated the same neural pathways as those who actually practiced. Your brain literally does not know the difference between real and imagined. So when you visualize success, when you feel energy of abundance, peace, and joy, now, guess what? You are rewiring your brain to make that your new default. How fun is that? And some may say, okay, that sounds a little delusional, you're a little out there, but what is the opposite side of this story? You can sit and tell yourself how you haven't been able to do it in the past, how you're not really sure. Like, what a bummer, that doesn't sound fun at all, right? Rewire your neural pathways to start believing now, then you create it. It's not when I see it, I'll believe it. It is, I believe it, and then I will see it. Think about athletes. They visualize all the time. Why are Phil Jackson's teams so successful? Because they visualize the success. And listen, I'm talking about the different feelings here. The truth is that we do everything for a feeling. And it's the truth that no one tells you, because everything we want is based on the fact of how we think it will make us feel. So you want the promotion, the vacation, the house, the relationship, because you think it will create confidence, safety, peace, love. But those feelings, they're not results. They are choices. And they are choices that are created by your thinking, available in this very moment. And I want you to just take a moment and play here with me, okay? If you're not quite grasping it or you think it's a little out there, I want you to think about how many times you can maybe hear a song and it brings you back immediately to a time in your life when you were, let's say, younger. I think of this song, Ironic, and it brings me right back to the Hill Street Cafe back in the day with some of my friends when I was in my internship. And it's not where I am right now, right? I am so far from there. That was decades ago. But when you can have a smell or you hear a song, something jogs your memory and it brings you right back to that moment. And you can often feel very similar feelings to that time. When you learn to feel what you want before you get the result, you actually collapse the time between desire and manifestation. So I'm just trying to show you that you have the skill set, right? When you think a thought of the past, you can get back in there and you can immediately feel that feeling. Flip it. I want you to think about that feeling before you get the result so that you can collapse time and increase your opportunity for manifestation. So you're not chasing the feelings, you are creating them in this moment. And that's magnetic. That's when you start showing up differently, taking different actions, attracting different outcomes. That's when it gets to be so much freaking fun. You create energy by what you think. And let's kind of dive into this one a little bit more. Let's talk about energy. Energy isn't just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's energetic, and you create it again with your thoughts. Your beliefs shift your body's chemistry. So think about this. Empowered thoughts generate dopamine and serotonin. Defeated, anxious thoughts trigger cortisol and burnout. So if you're feeling low energy, don't just ask what you did. Ask, what have you been thinking? This is why choosing beliefs like, I always figure it out, I'm just getting started, this gets to be fun, actually helps to fuel you. And the higher the quality of your thoughts, the more access you have to clarity, to creativity, and to action. And I want you to also think about the importance of presence. And this is where we'll start to kind of wrap it up. Because one of the biggest energy leaks that we all seem to have is worry. Worry feels useful, but it's not. It's a false task. It's a loop in your brain that runs in order to try to feel more in control. But I want you to consider, instead of asking, what could go wrong? What if you asked, what if this works? What if I'm more ready than I think? What if everything I want is closer than I realize? Think about that. What if all of the love and the abundance that you want is right here and more is on the way? Presence is where your power is. This moment is where your decision lives. And what you do now shapes what comes next. So, in summary, let's kind of wrap this up with the 4-step reset for the second half of the year, and it is going to be so much fun. It's a very simple framework for you to move forward. Number 1, get clear on what you want, not what's practical. I'm talking about what is aligned, what excites you, what feels like expansion. Number 2, reframe your past. Don't bring the old stories into the new season. You do not have to take on the stories that are no longer useful for you, even if they belong to your loved ones. You can let them go and still respect and love all of your elders, right? We don't have to bring all of the suitcases and all of the baggage along with us. We can drop it. What can you learn from the last 6 months? Just ask yourself, where can you thank that version of you who got you to this place right now? And let her know that you are going to be totally fine as you step into this next version of you. Number 3, claim what that next step is. And you do not need a 10-step plan. You do not need all of the fancy slides for the PowerPoint. You need one action today that aligns with your future self. Give yourself time to think about what that is. And then number 4, start small and stay consistent. Think about the minimum baseline, repeat it, stack it, and then let consistency carry you when motivation fades. You do not need motivation. You need consistency today. And here's the truth. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are not too late. You are one decision away from momentum, one step away from clarity, one habit away from becoming who you're here to be. Remember that. Let this be your day one. Not because it's perfect, not because you feel 100% ready, but because you've decided this is your time. Let's go create something extraordinary in the second half of the year. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. I am rooting for you. Let's meet back here next week. But for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.